So tell me what you want to do today. You want to talk to Amelia?
We want to, she's understandably been a little bit twitchy.
Is she right there with you?
She is.
Let me get her on the line.
She's sitting in the sunroom.
Okay. She's a little pensive, she says. I mean, she's a little bright, light being, but she shows herself just kind of, not like depressed, but pensive, I think, is the best word to describe.
Well, she's been very clingy. She's, like, completely ignoring us. She's laying on her little perch with her eyes closed. So I don't know if she's concentrating or just ignoring us. But
well, look at the ears. Lots of times with kitties, when their ears do that little, like, radar tracking a satellite, there's a distinctive position they put their ears in and kind of move them.
Yeah, now she's awake. She was ignoring us. But, yeah, I would say pensive is a good way to... She's been really clingy and needy, and just all of this has been very, very traumatic.
That's what she says. She's all alone now, she says. And I feel like Pandora was more a presence in the family than real actively engaged with Amelia. Is that right or not?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Amelia counted on her to explain things.
Yeah. It wasn't like they were playmates chasing each other wildly around the house, but it was that Pandora was there when Amelia arrived and really set the tone.
Yeah.
And so Amelia can't quite find herself now. She's not sure. Now what is what she keeps saying to me. Now what?
Well, that's one of the things we want to talk about.
Okay.
We want to see how she feels about maybe getting her another companion in a little bit.
She needs a companion, she says.
Yeah, I think she does too.
What she says is she is basically she's a little light, extroverted, happy kitty under normal circumstances, and would really enjoy a companion.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we thought, too.
Okay, good.
Does she have what kind of companion would she like? I guess is probably the next
Well,
question.
what are the options?
Well,
that's her question. What are the options?
We were thinking another kitty, but we were kind of looking for what type of personality, maybe.
Okay, so that's what she wanted to have clarified, that y'all are thinking about another cat. You're not thinking about a dog.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, she thinks, this is how she puts it, a young, funny, active kitty.
Okay.
Young, funny, which is what I think is cute, too. She wants some funny, sense of humor. And I said, do you have a gender that you really feel like would be a better match? And she says that because she's such a light, friendly kitty, she doesn't think it's a gender thing, but she certainly wants a nice cat. She doesn't want somebody who's going to be bossy.
Okay.
So gender's not really an issue.
It's not. She doesn't think that a girl kitty would be especially nice to her or a boy kitty would be especially nice to her, but she thinks that the cat that she would have in the family, she would like to be nice to her.
Okay.
Remind me, how long has she been with y'all? I mean, was she a baby when she came to you?
She was like 4 or 5 months when we got her.
So maybe she had an experience with somebody who was bossy.
Well, Pandora was kind of bossy.
Oh, okay. So
Pandora was bossy, but but I mean, she wasn't really mean to.
Right, in a loving way of being bossy as opposed to being mean.
She tolerated her very well. I mean, they weren't the I think what Pandora said the last time we talked was that Amelia wasn't her soulmate, but she wasn't. When Amelia needed comforting or whatever, then she was usually there for her.
Yeah, which also makes sense when Amelia was saying that she misses Pandora's presence. But she wasn't showing me any wild play with Pandora. I feel like what Amelia would love is a 8 months to year-old to year and a half, whatever, similar age to hers that's playful. that is not much bigger than her, she says. Now, that's interesting because she's pretty small, isn't she?
Yeah, she just weighed in at the vet at like 8.5, not quite 8.5 pounds.
So again, makes sense that what her requests are really match who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to be dominated by a Maine Coon.
Right.
And she would like a youthful, light, happy kitty that they could kind of share adventures rather than have to defer to each other. She also isn't showing me a picture of a little puffball. She doesn't necessarily.
No kitten, huh?
Yes. I mean, and that probably would be fine, but that wasn't the image she gave me. She gave me a little kind of, where they're beginning to get a little leggy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're looking for a happy cat.
Okay.
She's a happy cat, right? Under normal circumstances?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Well, that helps. We've got a couple of trips coming up too.
Okay. Well, actually, let her interrupt us, and then you probably got that written down. She says, "So when are you going to get this young, funny, friendly cat?"
Well, we were thinking maybe after Christmas.
Okay, so you're going to go on the trips before you get the new kitty?
Mm-hmm.
And will she be, that just leads right into, will she be staying home by herself? Or is this part of what y'all want to talk to her about?
This is part of what we want to talk to her about.
Okay, so let me just explain that you're probably going to wait until a couple more cycles of the moon before you get a new kitty.
Yeah.
And that there are other things you want to talk about right now about your travel plans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me what we're telling her.
Okay, so we've got a weekend trip coming up where she's going to be by herself.
Oh, she says. And you know what it feels like? I mean, I got the just total somatic dropping of her heart down into her stomach.
Yeah.
Like, oh dear.
But Brenda, who she likes, is gonna come and see her every day.
Could she possibly be saying, should I go home with Brenda?
Well, I don't think so. She doesn't like... Brenda has 2 cats and a dog.
Okay, so no, she shouldn't go home with Brenda because Brenda has 2 cats and... Yeah.
The cat that she doesn't like very much lives...
Yeah, she's kind of like, oh my gosh, are we just talking 2 nights?
Well, we're talking 1, 2... It'd be 3 nights that we're going to be gone.
The sinking heart into the stomach doesn't mean you can't do this. I'm just telling you what she's feeling.
Right.
Yeah. And that goes back to the presence of Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Just having her in the house made Amelia feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Is it Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just tell her that. Can y'all bring her some turkey?
Yes. We'll bring her some turkey.
So basically, Brenda's going to come once a day?
Probably twice a day.
Little Amelia's kind of going, I wonder what I'll do with myself. And I said, well, you can take a lot of naps, which makes the time go fast. You could probably play with your toys. She has some rolling toys she really likes.
Milk ring.
Yeah.
Huh?
Milk rings.
Oh, really?
Those are her favorite, yeah.
Oh, what fun. I was sitting here trying to figure that out, and it seemed like it was made of plastic, but it didn't seem like it was...
round.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. So
both round and flat, yes.
Yes.
She likes to play fetch.
She is one smart little kitty.
We know.
Yeah. Okay, she says.
Okay, well, that's good.
You know what she might like? I feel like she feels like the house will be very quiet when everyone's gone.
Uh-huh.
And you might get Brenda to turn a little NPR music type station on for part of the day. So then it's quiet at night and she sleeps, and that in just one room there's some little sounds, some voices.
Okay, we can do that.
And she says, not too loud. But it's almost like if she went in the bedroom and slept, she wouldn't hear it. But if she went in the living room, she would.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of she says she works she moves around the house throughout the day.
Mhm. It's true.
And so she will probably follow that same pattern.
Yeah. Well, she likes to watch the squirrels. The squirrels come and entertain her.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and they come right up to the window, she says. I think it's a sliding glass door, isn't it?
No.
It's a window.
Yeah. They climb up the bricks of the house and like to aggravate her.
Really?
Mhm. Yeah. I pulled up one day and I couldn't figure out what the squirrel was doing. She was in the bathroom because we have windows all across the front of the house, and she goes from window to window. But the squirrel would run up the bricks and smack the screen of the window, and then run back down the bricks, and was doing was running almost a circle on the wall.
Isn't it funny? Those squirrels have so much fun. I mean, they challenge dogs, and then they run up the tree and chatter at them, and they leap from branch to branch. I think really the life of a squirrel is a pretty good life.
I think you're right.
And so it doesn't surprise me that this little character had made a game of tapping on the window and getting Amelia all riled up.
Yep.
So good. I'll tell her that's something that she can do during the 3 days you're gone, too.
Yeah. We put some food out for the squirrels so they'll come up.
Yeah, set up. That's great. Okay, so...
We don't have our pumpkins out there anymore.
Yeah. They ate one of our pumpkins.
Yes. They'll do that, or the bears will do that.
Well, this was just a squirrel. They'd get their nuts and sit on top of the pumpkin and have a little bite of nut, and then have a little bite of pumpkin, and then have a little bite of nut. Crazy.
That's beta-carotene.
I guess.
Okay, so you said travels, period. I mean, double, plural.
Yeah. And then in Christmas, we're going to South Dakota, which is very far away, and she's going to have to ride in a car for like 2 days, but we're going to stop in St. Louis. So she's going to get to be a traveling kitty. She's going to get to stay in a hotel one night, and then she's going to go see her grandparents.
And how long will y'all be there?
About 10 days.
Oh, great. So, I mean, that will be worth the travel for her.
Mm-hmm. We think so. We think she'll adjust okay, but we wanted to make sure she understood.
And will she be okay with that?
Yeah. Okay, so let me... well, she doesn't want to stay home by herself, she says.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't feel like she spent much time in the car except to go to the vet.
Right. The only other time that she rode in a car was from Nashville, Tennessee to here, and it was not very pleasant.
When y'all adopted her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this time she won't be in a cage. We'll just put her harness on her, and she'll be loose in the car, and if she has to go to the potty or whatever, she'll be able to do that.
Oh, so that'll be a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is she microchipped?
No.
Boy. Just from the lost animals that I used to work with, might be worth considering. So you got the harness on her, and it's a harness she cannot slip out of?
Right. And it has a leash as well.
Okay. So you just be real careful when you stop at rest areas and gas and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I will tell her that it's important that she stick with y'all.
Right. And we'll bring her carrier too, but she won't have to be in it.
But you'll have the carrier if you're transporting her from the car to the motel room.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's worthwhile because even if you had her all contained and she dug in and your reflex was to release her,
right?
You've got a kitty running away with a leash attached.
Right. Yeah. No. I would put her to get her in and out of places. I'd put her in a carrier, but in the car, just having her loose, she can.
Which will be very nice for her to be loose in the car, she says.
Mm-hmm.
A couple cautions, just because I've run into them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes kitties get under the seat of the car, and sometimes that's a real hot space.
Right.
In terms of there's friction, like the drive shaft is spinning or whatever.
Right.
You might just test that out before you get on the road, so that if you need to block it off so she can't get under there, you can do that.
Okay.
And then the other one is to know that if you lose your kitty in the motel room, often they've gone up in the box springs of the room.
Yeah.
I've had that happen to so many clients, and they're all like, oh, thank you for telling us, because that's exactly where they were. And I'll just tell her that she's completely safe, that she's going to be with you, And while it's unfamiliar, you're just going to spend one night in that motel room.
Yeah, and she may be in the motel room by herself for just a little bit, but
because you're going to go to dinner or something?
Yeah.
You know, it might be easier to leave her in the car. Of course, it may not be warm.
Right, it may not be warm enough.
December, yeah.
I think she'll be okay. I think she'll do okay.
And I am overly cautious because I've heard so many awful stories. You might think about just putting her in the bathroom, as the bathroom seems to be totally sealed up, rather than in the big room.
Right.
She's going to be in an unfamiliar place with the carrier and her litter and little food and water. When you went out to dinner, then she would know that was her designated area, and you're coming back.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it is uncanny how many times people have had somebody walk into their room to put extra towels or just fluky things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I probably would have already been thinking along those lines.
Yeah, I'm sure you are, and I just bring them up because I don't want to have not mentioned it and then it happens.
Right.
So what I'm explaining to her is that you will be sure that she's completely safe and that she can trust that if y'all go out to dinner, you'll be back.
Yeah.
She says they do that sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm reminding her that this will be a different place. This will be in a different location. She's comfortable at home when you got to dinner, but that she can know, just like at home, you're coming back.
Yep.
And then when you are in South Dakota, she'll be. Are there other animals? Her question.
No.
Okay, so she'll have the run of the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like fun to her, and she certainly wouldn't want to stay home for really 14 days. She's, if you had 10 plus 2 on each end.
Well, the whole trip will be about 10 days, so.
Yeah, that sounds like a good adventure. Y'all know Feel Away too? Do you know?
Yeah.
That?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you'd spritz your car and.
In fact, I've got a spray bottle mixed up of some because we use the room diffusers. And I've had pretty good luck with those. But when Pandora got really sick, the second time the first time that in this last batch when she had to go to the vet and spend the night.
Yeah.
Amelia was really unhappy when I brought her home. And wouldn't have anything to do with her, and she was just mad.
Well, she also smelled scary, she says.
Yeah, she smelled scary.
Like a vet.
And Amelia had been to the vet the day before, so she wouldn't let me pick her up. I think she thought I was going to take her someplace awful, and she was scared and
worried, but also just because Pandora was not herself really, and also smelled funny. She didn't trust the situation, is what Amelia says.
Yeah, she was really mad, too.
Mad what did mad manifest looking like?
Anytime I tried to talk to her, specifically when I tried to talk to her about Pandora, she would yowl and grumble and cuss at me, and then she would stomp away, and then she would come back and smack me 4 or 5 times and grumble some more, and then run away.
Really? After Pandora had been to the vet and came back, or was this about Amelia's visit? Okay, well, let me ask Amelia. Don't wait. She didn't like what was going on, she said.
I got that loud.
Right, and she was alarmed. So mad mixed with scared. I think it was a fear-based.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We finally got over it, and then I think she felt guilty too.
Because she's so sweet, she said.
Yeah.
It's not her nature at all to be like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
We were living with Psycho Kitty. I was living with Psycho Kitty. Jay was gone.
Yeah. It was almost like she came back. And another thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It was
Don't you ever.
It was exactly like that. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah, and then she calmed down, she said, once she'd expressed that. It was kind of like she had a little temper tantrum.
Yeah, for like about 5 days.
Oh, that long? Oh, she was giving it to me like it was just a one-time incident.
Oh, no.
Really?
It was almost a week.
Now, this was after Pandora died or after Pandora just went to the vet?
This was about a week before she died. Because she went to the vet and they kept her overnight, and then she came back home, and then about a week later she had to go back to the vet, and they put in a feeding tube. And then when I brought her home that time, Amelia was she wasn't like that.
Yeah.
She still didn't want to have anything to do with her because she smelled wrong. But
she wasn't giving you a hard time.
No, not too much.
Yeah.
But she was still weirded out about it. And
she was very worried, and she couldn't figure out what was going on. That's her explanation.
Right.
And nobody seemed to be able to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And she's right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that Pandora must have explained to her that she might not come back.
Because she wasn't expecting her back the second time, she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pandora was already fading in that last week, and Amelia says she was picking that up, too. Mm-hmm. And you told her, too, Star, that you didn't expect her to come back.
I didn't know. I said, but she might not. And I tried to be real clear.
You were. I think Amelia really did get what was going on. So the combination of Pandora talking to her and you talking to her, Pandora's was more just, I don't feel good. And yours was, we don't know if we can get this fixed.
Yeah.
So Amelia's pensiveness, she's gone back to her pensive, has really been just kind of not knowing what to do with herself.
Well, we've been trying to keep her busy.
And and I think that grieving process is just kind of natural to all animals anyway, and they come out of it when they're ready. I think it's good to distract some, but also, just to kind of let her be flat.
Mhm. Yeah. When she wants attention, we give it to her.
Yeah.
And we do pester her a little bit, but she seems to respond pretty well to being pestered.
Yes, she does. Yes. She says, your timing's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then she walks away and hides.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does hide. She's. I wish I'd said that before you fed it to me, Jay. But she takes her own quiet time, was how she put it. Mm-hmm. So she's doing some grieving, and then she's joining the family, and again, I think it's more puzzlement and pensive than grief and deep sadness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
She really adored Pandora, but Pandora had her moods too.
And it wasn't like she's just lost her sidekick. She's lost a presence in the home that she really loves, but it's not that she's lost her playmate. That's not
right.
What the role was. Yeah.
Right.
But we're very proud of Amelia after our last conversation, where she's hiding before. She comes out every time we call her now.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great, and she loves that compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else do y'all want to talk to her about?
Well, she doesn't seem to want to eat wet food anymore. And we were wondering if that was what kind it was. Sometimes she wants it, sometimes she doesn't.
She does well on her cereal.
Yeah, she likes her dry, crunchy cereal.
Yeah, she loves her cereal, yeah.
And she likes her little crunchy treats, but...
Yes.
She's kind of lukewarm on the wet food, but yet she seems to want it, but then when she gets it, she doesn't want it.
I think you could give her a smaller amount.
Okay. We don't give her very much at all, and sometimes, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason to when she will eat it and when she won't. Because, you would think, okay, if it's a fresh can, then,
Right, then she'd like it, yeah.
Right, but that's not always the case, and some days, like the third or fourth day will be when she will eat it all. So,
Well, okay, help me with the question then. What are we trying to say?
Does she still want us to give her wet food, or does she care? Would she rather have something? Is there something else she would like?
as much as I know the wet food's good for her, she's really pretty neutral on that wet food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something else she'd like,
Mm-hmm.
she's really kind of pondering that. It's like,
because she always wants to see what we have to eat.
yeah, well, see, and that's why I was getting things like chicken, chicken and rice. I mean, you do fix some things to eat that smell really good to her. She's more showing me smells.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will throw this out. I had a kitty who used to love pasta, avocado, cantaloupe, and broccoli. I mean, those were his 4 people foods that he loved. And she's going more by smell. That I'm not getting flavors, so I'm having a hard time with what she's saying. But I feel like what she loves is the smell of the food being prepared. Oh, maybe like scrambled eggs or omelets. Do y'all do those?
Haven't in a while, but I mean,
what I'm getting is a real kind of rich smell that feels to me like it's
butter.
Butter, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always use a little bit of butter when I cook, even mix it with olive oil or whatever. But like some things, I mean, like if I do a piece of fish, I usually give her a little bit of it. She
loves it.
She seems to like that, but she's not a big eater.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she loves the kind of ritual of watching you cook, and it smells good, and then you give her a little special bite of it. She's eating it out of curiosity and flavor, but she's not hungry.
Okay.
She says that she likes her little crunchy food and she eats when she wants to, but she sees herself as a little lean kitty.
Yeah. Yeah, she's her sister was all about the all about the food. And I mean, the trains absolutely had to run on time for Pandora. But Amelia's kind of just like,
That's why she likes to be able to just graze with the crunchy food.
Yeah, she's not
food driven.
Not at all.
And that's nice. That's great, them kitty. They don't wake you up at 5 a.m. for breakfast.
Well, I know. It's weird not having a cat alarm anymore.
But when we do ask her, she'll say yes or no.
Yeah.
You hungry? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like y'all could. Do you feel like she drinks enough?
Yeah.
She's very young anyway to be getting dehydrated.
Yeah. No, she seems to.
I would not worry about the wet food for a while.
Okay, and maybe something that we'll pick back up then.
When she's 10, and you get worried about her getting dehydrated, or when you have the new kitty, if it's real motivated for wet food.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think a lot of times she ate just because Pandora did.
Yeah.
And Pandora's food always tasted better to her.
Even if it was the same food.
Yeah, and Pandora always thought Amelia's tasted better, so, they were always eating out of each other's bowls.
Yeah, pull the switch on each other. She's just talking about she really does like the ritual of food preparation and the kind of delivery of food.
That's funny. Yeah, she comes in the kitchen with me pretty much any time I'm doing anything food-wise.
And it was that butter smell. I kept thinking stir fry. I was just going through all the many things I've heard kitties like to eat. It's the butter flavor, and it is. I do feel like you fix salmon sometimes. Yeah, and so that's one she loves.
Yeah, she usually has a little bite of that, and if I've cooked chicken, she usually has a little bite of that, or a steak. Yeah. She really likes the beef. She likes the beef a lot.
I was getting the red meat, and I was going to salmon, but I bet it's the beef she was showing me, too.
Well, she usually I buy steelhead trout a lot, and she likes that. So.
Yeah, so that's fun for a treat for her. But I think her main staple, she's happy with the crunchy stuff.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, so is there anything that she needs from us that she's not getting?
Now, she said company, and I want to pursue that. Because I'm wondering if she means cat company or if she means people company. looking for a dinner party, or is she looking for a friend? So let me get her to clarify that. She is real curious about people who come over to visit.
Mm-hmm. She's scared of a lot of people. She hides.
And yet, do you feel like she kind of enjoys the visit? Comes out, I mean, after they've left, and it's kind of like, okay, oh, that was interesting. Or does it feel like she really is afraid of them?
Some people she's afraid of. If they're big and
yeah, I'm big energy and loud. Yes.
Yeah,
I think she likes Brenda. I think she.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's several women who come by that she enjoys.
Yeah, she always comes and sees my friend Sherry when Sherry comes by. Jane, she always visits with Jane.
Yeah.
Brenda.
Yeah. So what she's saying is, that's one thing she'd like a little more company. I think she was actually commenting on people and not about the kitties. I mean, we've already had the conversation about a kitten.
Okay.
Let's see. So, a little more festivity. I really think that she was even searching for something there in terms of what do I need. I feel like she's very happy.
Okay.
She's
good.
Content with her life. She will enjoy having a companion. But y'all are very attentive to her, and she feels like y'all play with her a lot.
We do.
Yeah, and so that fills a lot of her needs right there.
Okay, good.
Well, at least we touch her when we go by her.
Yeah, we
and you speak to her, she says.
Oh yeah, I talk to her. We talk to her all the time.
Yes, and that is a lot of it for her, is that verbal acknowledgement that she's seen, and nothing's required of her, she says.
We talk to her when she walks in the room.
You say hello, yeah.
Absolutely.
And explain what's happening.
Yeah,
we had a maintenance guy come in, or somebody to fix our appliance yesterday, and I told her what's happening. She went down in the basement, and he had to leave and come back, and I told her, and she was fine with that. She came out and then went back down to the basement, and then came back out again.
Yeah. It is amazing to me when they demonstrate how much they understand, because it really encourages you to keep giving them information.
Oh, well, I've always done that, I mean, when it was just Pandora, I would say, okay, we're going to go eat, and we'll be back in a little bit, and okay, I'm going to bed now, or, I have to go to work now, and I always tell Amelia, especially just recently, I'm like, okay, when the sun is almost touching the mountains, then I'll be home. And
good.
So she has something that she can measure by.
Marker, yeah.
Yeah, because unlike Pandora, she doesn't tell time. she doesn't look at the clock.
She seems very happy to me. I mean, the pensiveness aside, but I think her basic nature and her life is really working for her.
Okay.
And she loves the little squirrel games.
Yeah, she's all about the squirrels.
And I don't feel like she goes outside, but y'all have a harness for her, so that's puzzling to me.
Well, we had thought, I'm not big on cats being outside just because they tend to be the friendly neighborhood serial killer.
Uh-huh.
And, and then you have to worry about, other cats and dogs and foxes and cars and bears and who knows what else. So, but it can be fun to take them outside, so that was why we got her the harness. Well, I had a harness for Pandora to take her outside if I was going to do yard work or whatever, or just go out. I could take her outside, and she could, get her little paws in the grass or whatever.
And so, have you done that with Amelia?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
She's, she does fairly well.
I was wondering why she was showing me that she doesn't do that. That was why I was kind of asking that question, because of the harness. And I said, do you get to go outside? And she said, no. And she said no instead of, well, not very often.
Well, she's been out a few times, but we don't. It hasn't been a lot, and it hasn't been anything. It hasn't been recent either.
Yeah, so maybe that's where she was coming from with that.
Yeah. I don't want her to get to liking it too much, because I don't want to have her yowling to go out.
Wanting to go out, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of
all the more reason to have some little buddy in there to chase around the house.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, what else on y'all's list? I mean, this is a kitty that's well listened to and has most of all of her needs met. So she's not giving me a lot of, oh, I need this or oh, I need that.
Okay. Good. That's good. Well, the only other thing on our list really is if you can feel Pandora.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
Okay.
Yeah, and Pandora, I mean, she's right there, and she said, and I think they can feel me, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do.
And Pandora feels like it was a bigger loss, she is a bigger loss to you and Jay than necessarily to Amelia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Pandora says I was a big present.
Mm-hmm. She was.
Yeah. And she said there was really nothing that could have been done.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get a feel. Don't tell me. I'm trying to just get a feel for. I feel like. Well, what she says it was. I don't feel like her lungs fill with fluid, but it was a thing of. Let me stay with this for a second because I'm getting fluid and I'm also getting diminished life force, but I don't feel pain. So I'm trying to get a sense of what she's saying as far as her exit goes. And I feel like towards the end she was very dehydrated. Is that right?
I don't know. She was at the vet's.
Right, but I would think she wouldn't be dehydrated at the vet's, because they'd probably keep her on fluids.
Well, yeah, they. I don't think they had her on an IV, but she had a feeding tube.
Oh, so that would be that diminished.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you.
Yeah, do. I mean, that's what she's just kind of giving me this sense of slipping away, but that there was quite a battle before she slipped. I mean, y'all worked with the
we tried everything.
Yeah.
She went into liver failure. She had her hepatic liposis, so fatty liver, basically.
Oh, okay.
But she had just like in the last month she went from, she kept losing weight and then she just quit eating.
So that does. I mean, yeah, it feels like. The diminished, I mean, the little drawing I got was just this arrow that was kind of baseline and then started slipping down, and then it was just kind of a flat line out of, she just didn't have any reserves to draw on.
Yeah.
And she said it couldn't be fixed. I mean, she heard the vet saying that. Liver failure, I mean, it couldn't be fixed.
That's interesting. Well, I felt bad because I wasn't there when she passed.
She said that's okay. I feel like she just lost consciousness. Okay. It wasn't like she went into heart failure, or at least the way she describes it is it seems like she kind of exited her body while she was either unconscious or sleeping. And so it was a very gentle transition.
Well, that's good.
So tell me the actual situation. You took her back to the vet because she wasn't doing well, and then she died while she was there, but that wasn't the plan?
Yeah. No, it was the week before. I mean, she's like I had been giving her syringes of slurried food. But she just didn't want to take it. And the week before, I had her in because she hadn't been having bowel movements, and they gave her, she was definitely constipated. They gave her an enema. They kept her overnight. And then they sent her home with some slurries, which I was getting into her at least a couple a day. And then she started really fighting me, and then I talked to the vet on Saturday because her urine was really small output but really yellow.
Uh-huh.
But she wasn't showing any signs of jaundice. But then when I got up Tuesday morning, it was she was jaundiced, and I immediately took her to the vet, and they suggested to do the feeding tube to reverse the liver damage, to get enough nutrition so that to help the liver to start to release some of that fat. And I brought her home Tuesday night, and it was going to be way hard for me to do the feeding tube by myself.
Oh, yeah.
I had a friend come over and help me do the first feeding, and I wasn't sure, I probably should have just let him keep her.
Uh-huh.
And so then I took her back on Wednesday, and she was doing well with the feedings. She seemed to be responding well. He said she was sitting up, and it seemed more alert.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came in Thursday morning. I was supposed to come in on Thursday, and they were going to work with me to do the feeding tube with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dead.
Okay, so then she did describe it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of kind of going in her sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you not being there was okay, because she wasn't even, she just let go easily, she said.
Yeah, I think it had just been too much of a fight.
I think so, too.
We still don't know what the cause was. They sent her body off for a necropsy.
Yeah.
And we have her, we just got her remains back, her ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
She said she's sorry that got her. She felt like she left before her time.
She did.
But she's glad that it was as smooth an exit as it was. So I think what she's saying there, she's glad, you didn't end up having to bring her home and try to do the feeding tube and do all that. It was just, that was not going to work for her, she says.
Yeah. Okay. Does she think she's going to come back and see us?
Not for a little while, she says.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think she's saying that in terms of don't look for me in the little kitty that you found for Amelia.
Yeah, no, and we weren't planning to.
Okay.
We weren't planning to, but
she may show up much later, she said.
Okay, well that's good.
It is good that she clarified that it was, don't go looking for me or don't wait for me to come back. Find the little funny kitty for Amelia, but then Pandora may still come back.
Okay. Well, I'll know her when I see her, that's for sure.
Yes, you will, she says.
Does she care what we do with her remains?
Whatever makes you feel good.
Okay.
That's almost the universal answer. What's more important to her is that you have a photo of her that reminds you, that you look at and kind of converse with her.
Yeah. We definitely.
It's already there, she says.
Yeah, we have lots of photos of her.
Yeah.
Because we were thinking we might make some jewelry out of some of, or there's a guy in Indiana that does funerary jewelry and glass.
Uh-huh.
And I just wondered what she might think about that.
Yeah, and I think she truly is like anything that works for you, she's happy with.
Okay. Well, good. Okay.
So she sends her love, but she also kind of wants to send reassurance that she feels like y'all all did, including her, everything you could to get through this, and she's glad she slipped away kind of quietly in the night. And, she probably couldn't have gotten out of her body, Star, if you'd been there kind of energetically.
That's true.
So it was that quiet night with no one around kind of holding her that let her just slip on out.
Well, that makes it a little easier to deal with.
Yeah, she there's none of this I felt alone from her at all.
Good. I kind of felt like I failed her.
Well, and I think she knew that. I think that's why she told us the information before you had told me the information, just to reassure you that it was a very easy, gentle, just kind of sliding right on out. And I've had that experience with people in my life and animals in my life, that some of them just need to have the energetic space to get out of here. And if we're all hovering around, it's hard for them to go.
Yeah.
And that seems like that's what she's saying.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've definitely felt her.
Oh, I'm sure, because you're both so intuitive. I mean, that is your job, isn't it, Star?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is funny when it's your own. I mean, I have a new dog, and I've had to call a communicator friend of mine just to talk to her a couple times. It just it usually verifies what you know, but sometimes it's just brand new information that you're on one track, and it's good to have just somebody else come in and look at it with a fresh approach.
Yeah, well, and two, I think it's too easy to, you question it, because it's like, well, is this really what it is, or is this wishful thinking on my part?
Right, is this just what I want it to be? Yeah, do I want it to be okay, or whatever it is? Yeah. It's either that for me, or I'm lecturing my animals. You know, I've become the mom of a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not listening to them, you're just talking at them. That's not going to work either. Yeah. Depends on the situation, but yeah, sometimes just a different approach is good. But I feel like what Pandora's saying really is that both of y'all are very connected to her, and she knows you feel her around. She felt that the main thing that you needed clarification on was that she was fine with her exit.
Okay, yeah, I definitely did, because I felt like I kept thinking if I had only taken her in on that Saturday when I had talked to the vet, but it sounds like she was just already to the point where she was just worn out.
Yeah, she didn't want the feeding stuff.
Yeah, I know, I kind of regret, I was really torn on that. It was either that or put her down.
Yeah. And so she chose to make her own exit, so that removed that big decision.
Yeah.
And she said, and you should thank me for that. Because she feels like it's a very hard decision for you to make.
It was. I mean, it was tough, and I just wasn't ready to,
call it quits.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But she was.
Yeah, and she did, and she handled the details, so that was very nice of her.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. But we all ask for, and it doesn't happen. But so many are going, if they would just go in their sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and in a way, I mean, I'm glad that she was at the vet's office and not here, because that would have seriously freaked me out.
Right, and then there would have been all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I mean, this way you had done the best thing for her care physically, and she was in a safe place, and she just moved on out.
Okay, well, I'm good with that. I mean,
yeah, and she does a little tongue in cheek, and they should thank me for that. And they are. Okay, anything?
I think that's all I've got. Jay, do you have anything?
That's it. He covered pretty much all of it.
All right, let me double check with Amelia, because I feel like she's got something else, because she just said, hello. She's trying to get the details of when y'all are going on the big road trip. So, and that's true. We didn't really talk about the timing of that. So you'll go away for your 3 nights, and when you come back from the 3 nights, because that's a good kind of starting point, about how long? About 2 more weeks before you
About
go?
3 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to leave on the solstice, so.
Oh, great. So what she's asking is that you begin to give her a countdown about 3 days before you leave.
Okay. We can do that. We'll do that with both trips.
That'll be great.
Well, we used to, actually, I've got a calendar hanging up. What I can do is I'll mark the days off on the calendar.
That'll be great.
It's down where she can see it.
Yes. That'll be great. And she's also asking about how long, I mean, she's getting details on that trip because I got derailed at worrying about safety.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 days in the car. About how long a day?
10-hour days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 or 10-hour days.
And yet, I'm reminding her she gets to move around and stretch out and
sleep
hang out with y'all, take naps, look out the window. It'll be an entertaining 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll bring toys and everything, so she'll have everything that she needs.
She might sleep some of that time, she said.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, cars are great, kind of put you to sleep vehicles.
Yeah, she didn't have a good experience her ride here because she was in a big crate with her brother, and
she was scared, she said.
Yeah, and the person driving her did not. They were on twisty, windy roads, and it was
oh gosh,
and it was meow, meow, meow all the way.
Oh gosh. And imagine they're just kind of feeding off each other's, I don't know where we're going, what's going on here, what's happening. Now she's going to be in the car with the two of you going, okay, I know where I'm going, and I know these people, and it's all good.
Yeah, she gets to meet her grandparents. Yeah.
That'll be great. She says she'll charm them. I said, I'm sure you will.
I'm sure she will, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? One thing you should probably, I don't know how to explain it, but her grandpa is in a scooter. He has.
Okay, so I'll just show her that.
Okay.
That, you know, don't get yourself run over.
Right. You might let her ride in the basket.
She asked that question at the same time you started to say that. Because I showed her a little fun scooter, and she was like, maybe I can ride on it. I said, maybe you can.
He lets the kids do it at the mall.
Yeah.
Oh, what fun. Oh, that'll be great. Okay, well, y'all have a delightful holiday time, and if you'll send me that link, that would be great.
I sure will.
Sure, and this one's going to be up on it shortly, too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Golly. I never like to hear my voice. You know how it is.
Well, we don't like to hear ours either. Well,
yeah. But you know, I think it really helps people to understand, and also, I mean, we've had a lot of my friends are probably going to be calling you because they were like Tracy, you know, she was real impressed. So.
Well, and it's great. Really, it is nice. It gives me an idea just in terms of some people get on the phone and y'all do a nice interaction, and it's not a guarded conversation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I get people who think they're not supposed to give me any input at all, so there's just dead silence, so I can't get any verification of what's accurate either. You know, they're just kind of not saying anything.
Right, I've read for people like that, you know.
And the difference in the quality of the reading is major. I mean, because if you're just kind of out in space, it's not that I want to be fed the info, but once I get information that can be verified, I want that, so then we have validity for things we can't verify.
Well, exactly.
If they give you nothing,
right,
even though you've just said something that's very unusual, and yes, their cat does love broccoli, you don't even know if you've got them on the line.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you know exactly the experience.
I do, and you can hit every nail on the head, but if you don't put it in a way that they identify with,
yeah,
then you know you're just kind of like, and then they'll say, well, you know, this did happen, and you're like, okay,
you have told me that a half an hour ago.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I just didn't quite use those, you know.
Yes, that's why in the very beginning I try to explain that I'm getting information in images, words, and feelings, mm-hmm. and that I can mistranslate a feeling. You need to give a little wiggle room in there, mm-hmm. to consider the information rather than expect it to come in exactly the same form that you have in your brain.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's called intuitive for a reason, and it is a bit of an art form.
Yeah. So I appreciate y'all doing that, and I'll be interested to hear how it comes across.
Okay.
We'll send you a link.
All righty, and y'all have good vacation travels.
All right, and you have a great holiday too.
I will. Thanks a lot.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.